Karol Kurdzalowski is the kicker for the University of Chicago. He approaches the football, and away we go in UAA action. This one taken by Lapcevic at the 5, breaks out to the right hash, has a nice seam. Flag comes out on the play, out to the 35, across the 40, and out of bounds on the Chicago sideline. But this one may be coming back.
Yeah, Steve Magister had a great block, but they're going to get somebody completely away from the ball on the block in the back.
So Case will have a nice return by Lapcevic, negated. And so they will march this one back. We'll see where the football is spotted. We're 9 seconds into the first quarter, and the Case offensive unit will come out led by senior Eric Olson.
I believe the trouble they're having with the referee microphone, Nick Sylvester, the junior linebacker from Pennsylvania, McKees Rock, was called for the block in the back away from the football.
Well, Case will start at their own 9-yard line. Hope you enjoy our coverage of Case football today. Great to have you with us, wherever you happen to be today on case.edu. Eric Olson, the senior out of Bethel Park, PA, will go to fellow senior Kenny Reardon. He is piled up as he hits the line of scrimmage, trying to break over the right side, and Chicago Ed stands him up.
Michael Seafor there for the Maroons, coming off his defensive tackle position. And what he did there, he just filled the gap left by the pulling guard and ran the play down from behind as Reardon couldn't get going to the line of scrimmage, and Seafor just jumped the gap and was there to close from behind.
Kenny Reardon averaging 54 yards a game, scored 2 touchdowns a week ago, and was the UAA Offensive Player of the Week. Olson swings it out to Lapcevic, has some nice blocking out to the 20 on the hash mark near side, and falls ahead close to the 22-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 13 and a first down.
That's just bread and butter for the Case Spartans. They really like that wide receiver bubble screen. They've used it for years. They've allowed their quick wideouts to make plays after catching the football, and it happens there again with Lapcevic.
Lapcevic with his 25th catch of the season. They'll go to Reardon, running along the numbers on the near side, and gets out close to the 29-yard line. Good first down yardage for the Spartans. Kenny Reardon picks up 6 more. He is averaging just over 4 yards per carry.
Had a couple injuries this year and last year that slowed him down.
Second down and 4. Reardon lines up in the backfield. Lapcevic comes in motion and now sets up on the near side. Olson will hand it to Reardon. He is hit in the backfield and tackled for a loss. University of Chicago with some good penetration there. Brian Duffy, the senior linebacker out of Glen Ellen, Illinois. He comes in to make the stop. He had some quick help as they broke through.
Yeah, Case tried to shift the power from the right side, tried to make the left side of the formation the strong side, and hoping that Chicago would move with it, then go backside on the counter, and the Maroons were ready for it.
Well, he lost a yard, 3rd down and 7. Case operating in their own territory at the 26-yard line. Olson in the shotgun now. 3 receiver set. He's back to throw and in trouble, and is hit as he throws, incomplete. And Case looking at a 4th and 7 now, and they will have to punt it away.
Under pressure, just couldn't set in the pocket any longer, could Olson. Had Reardon as a release valve, and if he managed to flip the ball to him, might have been able to pick up a first down, but the pocket collapsed, time ran out, and Olson was quick to throw it.
Olson averaging 38 yards per punt. This one from the 26-yard line, caught at the 45. A 2-yard return, and the Maroons will come out offensively for the first time today.
Yeah, Olson's average enhanced by the 77-yard punt that he had earlier this season.
34-yard kick there with a 2-yard return. Brandon Bollock, the defensive end, by the way, was the player putting the pressure on Olson on that last 3rd down play. Quarterback is Vincent Cortina. Cortina, a senior out of Belmont, Massachusetts. He will go back to throw it on the first down play. Pass is caught out there on the far left side of the field by Sam Coleman. And he picks up 4 as he gets run out of bounds. 2nd down and 6 for the Maroons.
Yeah, Brandon Bryant, I think, got a little bit of the ball, just not enough to throw it off its line.
Chicago lost last week on the road at Pacific University out in Oregon. 21-6, the final score last week. Cortina has been outstanding this year for Chicago. He'll roll out to the right. Now fires it back, and it is caught again. Coleman has it, shakes a tackler, and then gets wiped out by Austin Webb inside the 10-yard line. Now they'll mark him right at the 10. 1st down, Chicago, and it's 1st and goal.
Scott Surin came over from a strong safety position, and as he tried to make the tackle, just slipped right by. Not able to hold on to the receiver and not able to hold his ground either.
2 straight completions to Sam Coleman. He now has 19 catches on the season. He leads their receiving corps with 5 touchdown catches on the season. Cortina to Zach Ross Nash, their primary tailback, and he powers his way inside the 5-yard line. We'll call his name a lot today, Ed. Zach Ross Nash, the junior, out of Allendale, New Jersey. 5'10", 190.
Yeah, through 7 games has nearly 600 yards rushing. Primarily between the tackles. Will sprint to the corner if he has to, but certainly doesn't like to get much outside the hash marks.
2 rushing touchdowns on the season for Zach Ross Nash. They have primarily gone to the pass for their scoring plays. Cortina will try it again, and that ball knocked away. Nice defensive coverage in the passing lane by Everett DeShong, the sophomore out of Chagrin Falls.
That's one of the sophomores that we mentioned in the pregame that has really kind of stepped up his game. Been thrown into a whole new defense. Defensive coordinator Marcus McCullough forced to go with 10 new starters this year, and several underclassmen are learning his system on the fly this year.
DeShong 2nd on the team in tackles with 56. That was a pass breakup, and now Chicago looking at a 3rd and goal from the 4. They will burn a timeout. We'll take one as well. 10:54 to go here in the 1st quarter. It's Case nothing, Chicago nothing. We'll be back in just a moment on the Spartans Broadcasting Network.
I have this cool cash. What can I do with it? You can turn it into a hot meal at Rascal House. It's the best value in town. What do they have there? Buckets of wings, pasta, sandwiches, salads, and of course, great pizza. Are they open late? You bet. Open every night till 2:30 a.m. And you can even build your own pizza and order it online at rascalhousepizza.com.
Cool. See you at the Spartans game?
Yep, and see you after at Rascal House.
Welcome back to DeSanto Field. 1st quarter action, 10:54 to go. Case and the University of Chicago Maroons. 3rd down and goal from the 4-yard line. Cortina brings his unit back to the line of scrimmage. He'll call out the signals. Ross Nash is in the backfield. Cortina timing route to the far side of the end zone, and it's incomplete. A little overthrown there. Defensive coverage applied by Fadi Haddad of the Spartans.
I believe that was Colin Marcy out there. The tight end had split wide. That would have been a 3 tight end set then for Chicago. They went with 7 linemen tight across the formation, only had 2 receivers, and it was straight up a fade pattern to the corner.
Karol Kurdzadlowski will try the short field goal, and he kicks it up and good. A 21-yard field goal, and his 7th of the season. He is now 7 of 10, so it's a 3-0 Chicago lead. And going back to that play in the end zone, Ed, Fadi Haddad checks in at 5'6". Colin Marcy, the sophomore tight end for Chicago, 6'3". And Haddad was able to break up that play somehow.
That coupled with the fact that Marcy may have gotten away with a push too. I think he had his hands on Haddad's shoulder pads. It was not well executed in terms of the offensive end of that play. And I'm not sure Chicago, the way the ball was thrown, the position of the throw was more of a back shoulder throw, but the height of the ball made it seem like it was a fade pattern into the end zone. And Marcy was just all twisted around. Haddad did a nice job of staying with him. and breaking up the play.
Well, so they settle for 3 points on the board on their first possession, and Chicago has a 3-0 lead. 10:46 to go here in the first quarter. Kurt Zadlowski will kick it off, and the Spartans will have their second try at the Chicago defense. This is a very short kick. Lapsevic at the 16-yard line, waits for some blocking to materialize, bounces to the outside, and is out of bounds at the 27-yard line, and that's where the Spartans will come out on offense. Lights are on here at DeSanto Field. The rain is falling, and it has been falling throughout warm-ups and continuing now that the game is underway. UAA opener today for the Spartans and the Maroons. Case 3-3, trying to extend their winning streak to 3 straight games. Eric Olson comes back out for the Spartans, the senior out of Bethel Park, PA. 2 receivers, 1 on each side. Eye in the backfield. Olson turns to throw, wings it for Magister, and it's incomplete out near the 30-yard line. Eric Olson had on the season completing 67% of his passes, 677 yards coming into today's game, and perhaps most impressively about Olson this year, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, and with Olson, they've condensed the field too, and that's something that even with both quarterbacks for Case, they really haven't had that vertical passing game, which obviously will increase your percentage. And if you're working quarterbacks in, that's what you want. You want some confidence. And if you're going to complete 2 out of every 3 passes, you're going to develop that confidence.
Billy Beecher has checked in at quarterback, primarily a running quarterback, and he follows suit there with the quarterback keeper. Slides ahead and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Might have picked up 1. And so Case looking at a 3rd down.
The Maroons are just loading up. They are almost daring Case to take a shot downfield. They're in almost, I guess you would call it, Dave, a hybrid 5-2 formation. They're going to have 5 guys up on the line of scrimmage, 2 linebackers, and then they've drifted back into almost single coverage. Now here, you'll see them bring in a 3rd linebacker, and they're in a 4-3 traditional set.
Play action here. Olson will gun it for Secray out of the backfield, but it's a little bit low and incomplete. In Case now will be looking at a 4th and 9.
A catchable ball, but also not really where you want to throw it, on the back hip of your receiver as he's moving forward.
Football resting at the 28-yard line, and Olson will punt it away. Vincent Beltrano is the punt returner. He is set up back at his own 40-yard line. Olson with the snap. He just does get that one away. As they came after it, it's going to take a Case bounce, but it'll still end up in Case territory, as that one took a hard left, and the Spartans down it. And Chicago will start out at the Case 48-yard line, a 20-yard punt.
Officially, they're going to say Ben Clark did get a piece of the ball, enough to change its flight and kind of turn it more up than out. And Chicago starting in Case territory again.
And he was coming straight at Olson, not from the side like you often see those successful blocked punts. 1st and 10, Maroons. They lead it 3-0, 9:41 to go here in the first quarter. 21-yard field goal, their last possession, which was also their first possession. Zach Ross Nash refusing to go down, straight between the tackles there. And he gets a hard-earned 5 yards. It's 2nd down and 5 for the Maroons.
Hard-earned is one way to describe it. He just wouldn't stop, and Case was either bouncing off of him or slipping off of him in the rain.
It is not kind elements today. Rain, and the wind actually is holding off, so the wind is not much of a factor. Back to throw. Cortina has his pass knocked down.
Everett DeShong getting his hands up off the edge.
Another pass breakup for the Spartans. They were aiming for Cole Tomes, the wideout, over to the right side, but that pass deflected. 3rd down and 5 for the Maroons. They lead it 3-0 here in the first quarter on Senior Day here at DeSanto Field. It is a rainy day here on the Case campus. Chicago in white, Case in their home blues. UAA opener for both teams. There's the snap back to Vincent Cortina. He gets rid of the football very quickly, but it's incomplete. Dropped by Sam Coleman. And a 4th and 5 now for the Maroons.
Well, I can't believe they're going to try to go for it here.
Football is resting at the 42-yard line. Drive started at the 47.
Case has struggled to move the ball today. You have an opportunity to pin them inside the 20-yard line.
Now Cortina lines up in the shotgun. 4th and 5 from the 42-yard line. They need to get to the 37, and a whistle and a timeout will be taken by the Maroons. That'll be their second timeout.
And it's a little strange in that they just looked like they were going for it, and all of a sudden the coaching staff changed their mind. Why waste the timeout? Take the 5-yard penalty, back up, and kick it from there.
8:55 remains here in the first quarter. It is 3-0 Chicago, and they are talking things over now. Chris Wilkerson is the head coach of the Maroons, former head coach at Dartmouth College. He was the associate head coach at Dartmouth College the last 6 seasons. So now the head man at the University of Chicago. Wash U, the opponent next week, and then Carnegie Mellon on the road to finish up the regular season for the Spartans. They'll be headed back up to Stagg Field next year.
Next year it is.
Always a pleasant cab ride from the airport over to Stagg Field.
Now, on 2 separate occasions, we've been given the grand tour of the Windy City. Over his head!
Well, the snap goes back over the head of the punter, and Case is going to get back there. Now the ball is loose, and it's picked up by the Spartans. And they will have it inside the 15-yard line.
And a late flag comes in.
Spartans picked up the loose ball. KJ Peterson ended up with the football. There was a high snap over Ben Cheney's head. And by the time he went back to try and get it, he did pick it up, Ed, but then was hit and the ball was jarred loose.
Now, I don't know what they're talking about in terms of a penalty for Case.
Spartans have not yet come back out onto the field. We'll see what the call is from Dave Barry. It is a personal foul against the Spartans. And a first down for Case. And the football will be marked back from where the play ended, all the way back close to the 29-yard line.
Strange call of when that flag came in. Very late flag.
Well, a big break for the Spartans on the high snap. And now the Spartans deep in Maroons territory. Eric Olson in at quarterback. Case down by 3. They will hand the football to Ricky Hanslick, his first touch of the day, and he runs left and gets inside the 25-yard line. Finally wrestled down by Michael Gilliam, the senior for the University of Chicago. It is second down for Case, a 4-yard pickup for Ricky Hanslick, the junior out of Metter.
Now Case has a sophomore guard in on that left side next to Garrett Hartig. Seamus McDonald is starting at left guard. And that was just a straight stretch play, and the Case goes unbalanced to the left again.
They will hand it to Hanslick, same play, and he runs right into the waiting arms of Brandon Bollock and might have gotten a couple out of it. Third down and 4 coming up for the Spartans.
Well, with the weather, you have to believe this is 4-down territory.
Chicago thought about going for it on 4th down, took a timeout, elected to punt, and the bad snap put Case in a favorable field position. 3rd down and 4, 3-0 Chicago. 7:28 to go here in the first quarter. Eric Olson calls out the signals and takes the snap, rolls right, gets outside the hash mark, now near the numbers, and fires it out of bounds. He's looking downfield for Logan Matt, but threw it away. In Case looking at a 4th and 4, and we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, it looked more like a jump pass than it did a rifle shot to the outside. I think they're going to try the field goal.
Well, they bring on Nick Bavaro to try the field goal. The line of scrimmage is the 23. This will be a 40-yard attempt. Logan Matt is the holder. There is the snap. The hold is good, but the kick might have been partially blocked. It is well short. Somebody might have gotten a hand on that, Ed. I could not really tell, but it was a low line drive kick that just did not get elevated properly, and so Case misfires on the field goal attempt, and it remains 3-0 Maroons.
Boy, they get a big break with the mishandled punt. And then you get 5 yards on first down, and everything stalls out from there.
So no harm done for the Maroons after the high snap on that last series. And so here they come again. Maroons out offensively with Vincent Cortina at quarterback. Justin Waney, the fullback, is checked in. Zach Ross Nash is the tailback. The center is Brock Appenzeller. Here is the snap, and they hand it to Zach Ross Nash. He dives ahead, gets a couple there. Gavin Sandage there to wrap him up for the Spartans.
Neither team truly been able to effectively run the football in Chicago, other than the one play when they picked up 30 yards on the pass to Coleman, has been ineffective offensively as well.
Looks like the rain has subsided just a little bit right now. Lights are on here at DeSanto Field. 6:40 to go. We're in the first quarter. 3-0 Chicago. Vincent Cortina calls out the signals. They'll go back and hand it to Zach Ross Nash. Sandage is there again for the Spartans on back-to-back plays. Got some help from Brandon Bryant as well. Aaron Weisberg there defensively for the Spartans, helping to wall up Zach Ross Nash of the Maroons.
Yeah, what you see there is the outgoing senior in Bryant and the future of that Case defense led by Sandage.
6:10 to go. Clock moving. 3rd down and 6 for the Maroons, deep in their own territory at the 27-yard line. Football is spotted near the right hash mark. Maroons moving left to right here in the first quarter. Cortina takes the snap. They'll keep it on the ground. Handoff goes up the middle, and not much running room there as they tried to run over the left side, and it's going to be 4th down for the Maroons. First touch of the day by Tom Brutowski, a senior running back out of Toms River, New Jersey, famous for some great Little League baseball.
Little League baseball, exactly. Toms River, 2-time champion.
5:28 to go. We're in the first quarter. They're lining up to go for it again here, Ed. 4th down and 3 from the 30-yard line. And now Cortina will pooch kick it after taking the snap. It's grabbed by Lapsevic at the 38-yard line, to the 50, to the 45, now to the 40, 35, turns the corner left side, just inbounds, and steps out as he gets near the 15-yard line. What a return for Sean Lapsevic.
Yeah, the pooch kick, and they outkicked the coverage, and it allowed Lapsevic to really survey the field, find out where he wanted to be, and once he made the initial cut near midfield, got to the outside, a couple of good blocks at the 45, and then just rode it all the way down near the 10-yard line.
He got all the way to the 11, so a little farther than I even thought. He steps out of bounds at the 11. A 51-yard punt return for Sean Lapsevic, and now the Spartans with Beecher in at quarterback. He runs straight up the middle and looked like he hesitated just slightly, Ed, and that hole closed up very quickly. Might have gotten inside the 10, and so a 2-yard pickup.
Yeah, the hesitation was the slide step, and you're right, Dave, just that pause was enough for the hole to close up and Chicago be there to shut it down after a slow gain, or a small gain.
Well, he gets 3 out of it. 2nd down and 7. They can get a first down at the 1. The football is resting at the 8. Eric Olson checks back into the ball game. Brandon Lynch, the freshman receiver, out wide to the left, but he throws right. That was looking for a Colin McLeod out there. And some good defensive coverage by Vincent Beltrano. Beltrano, the cornerback, was all over McLeod. 3rd down and 7 from the 8-yard line of the Maroons. Chicago leading this game 3-0. First quarter action here at DeSanto Field.
And I wouldn't necessarily call it sloppy to start with, but the execution has been poor on both sides offensively today.
And you think the elements maybe attributing to that, Ed?
Some, but at this point in the season, you've got to
Screen
feel
pass.
comfortable.
Deraney makes the grab, and he's in for the touchdown. Eric Olson, the step back, fired it straight over the middle. George Deraney, an 8-yard touchdown reception. And the Spartans take the lead 6-3.
Well, you know how they talk about first baseman in baseball picking up the infielders and preventing errors. Deraney there prevented an incomplete pass, really picked up his quarterback. Again, the ball behind Deraney, but he reached back with one hand, spun around, made the catch, and slipped into the end zone.
PAT is coming up. The snap and hold look good. The kick is up, and it is good from Nick Bavaro. George Deraney, the touchdown pass, his first of the season. And the Spartans have a 7-3 lead, 4:13 to go here in the first quarter. We'll be back to DeSanto Field after we pause for this timeout on the Spartans Broadcasting Network.
Have you heard the news? The Intercontinental Cleveland has earned its 10th consecutive 4 Diamond Award from AAA in recognition of its high-quality accommodations and exceptional service standards. Planning an important event like a corporate meeting, annual conference, fundraising gala, holiday party, or highly personalized wedding? Choose excellence in the Intercontinental Cleveland. Our planning professionals will take time to consider every detail and lead you through an experience which is proudly world-class. Call us today at 216-707-4100 for more details or to request a tour of our spectacular accommodations.
Eric Olson, the 8-yard touchdown pass, his 7th TD strike of the season, and the Spartans have a 7-3 lead. 4:13 to go here in the first quarter. Here is the kickoff. Will be taken back at the 17-yard line by the Maroons. Case with good kickoff coverage. Vincent Beltrano on the return, got out to past the 25, and looks like he's down at about the 28-yard line.
Billy
Spartans, Ed, really taking advantage of that good field position, a second chance, and that time they converted.
Yeah, they had an opportunity with the bad punt execution by Chicago, and there they returned the punt at the 11-yard line. 3 plays later, we're in the end zone. But on the sideline, Dave, Billy Beecher getting his right hand looked at, and also his right ear.
It looks like they're bandaging up his ear. Loose ball on the exchange, and the Maroons fall on it. Vincent Cortina lost it on the quarterback keeper, but fell on it, so he saves the possession, but it's a loss of 3 on the first play of the possession. 2nd down and 13, and yeah, it looks like Beecher either took a shot on the side of the head or something that damaged his right ear area, so they have him bandaged up. He's now got his helmet back on and is ready to go when called upon. Zach Ross Nash running right, and he is tripped up and knocked down. First one to him was Justin Williams, the defensive tackle. Weisberg helped clean up the play.
And they had him wrapped up like one of those turn-of-the-century pictures for people with a toothache. Lots of wrapping around the top of the head, underneath the chin.
Yeah, no time for style on the sideline. They got him bandaged up and ready to go back in. 3rd down and 12, a pickup of 1 on the run by Zach Ross Nash. Now Cortina in the shotgun, 3 receivers set, football at the 27-yard line. Cortina, plenty of time. Now he runs out of it, throws it for Zach Ross Nash on the near sideline, and it's overthrown, incomplete. and it's 4th and 12 for the Maroons. They will have to punt it away. Case again should get good field position here, leading it by a score of 7-3 with 2:42 to go in the first.
Open receiver outside the hash marks on the left side. Cortina was focused more to his right and missed a receiver wide open to his left.
Ben Chaney will punt this one away and shanks it to the right. That one goes way out of bounds. Over on the sideline, right at the 49-yard line of the Spartans. That might be a very favorable spot for the Maroons.
The ball stopped at the 48-yard line. I'm not sure how we could have made a right turn and landed there.
I was really envisioning the official marking it at the 40-yard line of the Maroons.
Well, just from that angle, the ball landed about 10 yards out of bounds near where the edge of the soccer fields are at the 48. And now they're going to mark it at the 49-yard line and say the ball took the same trajectory as the John F. Kennedy assassination bullet.
Case starting in their own territory, but by only 1 yard. Kenny Reardon powering his way forward, gets into Maroons territory out across to the 47-yard line. It's a pickup of 4, and it's 2nd down and 6. 2:20 to go here in the opening quarter here at DeSanto Field. Eric Olson in at quarterback for the Spartans. 2 receivers on the right, Lapsevic and Brendan Lynch. High in the backfield, tailback is Reardon. He takes the handoff, makes for the left sideline, still powering his way forward. They had a hard time getting Kenny Reardon down, and finally wrestled him out of bounds near the 41-yard line. Finally, Skylar Montefalco was the man to shove him out of bounds.
A 4-year player, 3-year starter for the Chicago Maroons.
He has been terrific, and this year leading the team in tackles with 57, including 8.5 tackles for a loss.
Case continues to work the left side of their offensive line, the right side of the Chicago defense, behind McDonald and Harting.
1:27 to go in the first quarter. Manny Secre straight up the middle. Good running room out to the 35, spins, and they finally catch up to him at about the 30-yard line. Boy, the Spartans refusing to go down today, and they finally got Secre to the turf at the 31. That's a pickup of 11 for Manny Secre, the junior runner out of Miami.
They managed to rip his hand warmer off his waist, but other than that, they couldn't bring him down.
1st and 10 Spartans. They lead it 7-3. We have a minute to go here in the first quarter on a rainy day here at DeSanto Field. The UAA opener for both teams. Reardon is the lone man in the backfield behind Eric Olson in the shotgun. They give it to Reardon. Flags come out. And as that play develops, the whistles blow, and so everybody stops moving around. 43 seconds left. And this one will go against the Spartans. A 5-yard walk-off there, and the Spartans have the football 1st and 15 at the 36-yard line of the Maroons. Football is right in the middle of the field near the right hash mark. Case moving right to left. Olson under center, takes the snap. He'll throw it to Lapsevic. Bubble screen to the left. Lapsevic gets inside the 30. He stays in bounds. Clock will continue to move. That'll probably be the final play of the first quarter. Good first down yardage for the Spartans. They got all of the penalty yardage back, plus 4 more. And so Case leads it 7-3. That's the end of the first quarter here at DeSanto Field. Second quarter action is coming up after we pause for these words on the Spartans Broadcasting Network.
This year, Qdoba will cater like 10,000 parties.
Where? When? I'm there.
Well, these parties are hypothetical. I was just talking about Qdoba catering. Hot taco bars with fire-grilled chicken and marinated steak, flour tortillas and taco shells. You'll also get their hand-smashed guacamole, cheese, sour cream, lettuce, and salsa. They'll deliver to your home or office, and they'll even set it up.
Can I bring a guest?
Oh, boy. Visit Qdoba.com today for more information about Qdoba catering. Qdoba Mexican Grill. More to explore.
Well, we go to the second quarter here at DeSanto Field. David Wilson along with Ed Daugherty, Mike Becker, our director, up top on a rainy day here in Cleveland, Ohio. 45 degrees at game time on Senior Day. 19 seniors honored before the game today, playing their final home game of their career. Eric Olson, one of those seniors. He is at quarterback for the Spartans. 2nd down and 7 from the Maroon 28-yard line. Case leading it by a score of 7-3. Here's a reverse. Secre flips it to Lapsevic, and he is caught in the backfield. Great play by Brandon Bollock, the defensive end. And he wiped out Lapsevic back behind the 35, all the way back at the 36-yard line. It's a loss of 8.
Yeah, Case tried to catch Chicago sleeping. And for the Spartans, maybe they should have started it to the left side of the formation and brought it back to the right. In that sense, they were headed right to begin with and then had Lapsevic trying to circle around the left side.
3rd down and 15. First minute of the second quarter. Case on top by a score of 7-3 and a timeout taken by the Spartans. This will be Case's first timeout. They will have 2 remaining here. 14-18 to go in the second quarter. Ed, we have some first quarter stats.
First quarter stats for the ball game. Case has run 18 offensive plays. They have 63 yards in total offense. That's 33 on the ground and 30 through the air. For the University of Chicago, just 14 yards in net offense on 15 plays. They are minus 28 rushing and just 42 yards passing. Eric Olson is 3 of 8 for 30 yards and 1 touchdown. Vincent Cortina, 2 of 7 for 42 yards. He had the 38-yard strike in the opening possession for the Maroons.
Chicago led early in this game 3-0 on a 21-yard field goal by Karol Kurdzidlowski. Case scored on an 8-yard touchdown pass to George Deraney from Eric Olson. This one up for grabs, and it's intercepted as Olson heaved it downfield as he had the pressure coming. It is picked off by Greg Tomey, the sophomore defensive back out of Valparaiso, Indiana. It's a turnover against the Spartans. The Maroons get it back. Tomey brings it all the way back to the 35-yard line.
Awful looking pass, and Case had 2 receivers in the same area. And I don't know if maybe Olson hesitated when he let go and thought, well, maybe I can throw it long, and then wanted to throw it short and didn't pick out the right receiver. But 2 receivers in the same area. Ball came out really in an odd way off of Olson's hand. It was up for grabs, and the Maroons have the turnover.
So they come back out as they will try and take advantage of the miscue. Brandon Bryant stacks up Zach Ross Nash as he gets out across the line of scrimmage close to the 36. It's a pickup of 1.
The rush defense for Case doing a great job. Nash now has 7 carries. He's only gained 14 yards.
For Tomey, by the way, his 3rd interception of the season for the Maroons. It is 2nd down and 9. Rain really picking up now here at DeSanto Field. 7-3 Case. Chicago football at their own 36-yard line. Cortina rolls right, fires it. It's caught in the flat. Late flag as Case, I think, is going to be called for a late hit.
Well, there's another one in the backfield as well, and I think there's a hold or an illegal use of the hands against Chicago.
He's trying to make out who caught that pass. I believe it might have been Miguel Maceda, number 35 for the Maroons. I couldn't tell for sure. 7-3 Case. We'll see what the penalties are when Dave Barry makes the appropriate signals. 13:27 to go before halftime. They've got a hold against Chicago. And then you'll get the late hit against Case. yet, so they'll have to get out a pad and pencil to work all this out and see where to spot the football.
Yeah, but they didn't do that right, Dave. They took the hold from the line of scrimmage. The hold should be from the location of the hold, which is the 27-yard line, and it should be 10 back to the 17 and then 15 forward. So the ball should be at the 32-yard line. Instead, they've marked it at the 42 because they stepped off the holding penalty incorrectly.
Right now, a 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line for the Maroons. Cortina rolls right, fires it, caught by Colin Macri, the tight end, and he gets out of bounds at the 45-yard line. A pickup of 3. Mark him actually out of bounds at the 46. So give him 4 on the first down play. 2nd down and 6. A 7-3 Case. A rainy day here in Cleveland. Team's trying to cope with that as best they can. Zach Ross Nash running hard over the right side. Gets outside the hash mark, then gets tripped up as he gets over midfield, and he's into Case territory at the 49-yard line.
Draw play slowed that blitz down. Came right from where Case was blitzing. And it's an old adage, the screenplay and the draw will slow the blitz down. Case was bringing 2 linebackers. Chicago ran the draw right up underneath the blitzers.
Leaves him a yard short. It's 3rd down and 1 from the Case 49-yard line. 7-3 Spartans, 11:59 to go. Here in the second quarter at DeSanto Field. Maroons football, they'll give it to Zach Ross Nash. He has the first down. Got a couple more to boot. And a new set of plays now for the Maroons.
The Maroons are a half-second slow offensively in their execution. And that has to do with the quarterback, Cortina, because of the low stance he takes behind center. His first motion has to be to stand up and then hand the ball off. So there's a half beat that Chicago loses in executing offensive plays.
Zach Ross Nash caught by Brandon Bryant, and he slings him down to the turf for a loss.
Read option, and Bryant wasn't fooled.
Brandon Bryant, a great reaction play there and wrapped up Zach Ross Nash. Throws him for a loss, 2nd down and 12. Just under 11 minutes to go here in the second quarter. 2nd and 12 from the Case 49-yard line. Cortina will roll back to his left, fires it out. Pass is caught by Miguel Maceda, his second catch of this drive, and it's out of bounds near the 45-yard line. Actually, they say he stayed inbound, so the clock continues to move.
Scott Surin on coverage. Surin officially listed at 6'4", 200 pounds as a strong safety. Nice job in coverage for somebody being that big.
Surin has an INT on the season. He's out of Brunswick, Ohio. Played for Luke Beal and the Blue Devils. Back to throw, Cortina. Now he'll run it straight up the middle. Has good yardage, gets tripped up, falls down at the 35-yard line. Zach Lyon on the tackle, the freshman linebacker for the Spartans. His second tackle of the drive. Truly, it's good for a first down.
Yeah, a true design quarterback draw. Chicago spread Case out, sent the receivers deep, and really opened up the area. Nice kick out block by the offensive line. And Cortina was able to pick up 10 straight ahead.
1st and 10 now from the Case 36-yard line. Case showing blitz again. Here they come. Cortina will hand it to Zach Ross Nash. He is out across the 35, middle of the field, and gets tripped up and falls at the 32. This guy seems to be good for 4 yards anytime you hand him the ball, minimum.
Well, and that's where they're going to make some hay, averaging about 80 yards, 85 yards a game, averaging about 16, 17 yards a carry, so that puts it in the 4.5 yards per touch. Case did a nice job on the first few carries of the ball game. He only had 14 yards on 7 carries, but that's picked up here in the drive.
He'll snap it back to Cortina. Second down, buys some time, fires it downfield, pass up for grabs. Surin got a hand on it. It was intended for Colin Macri. Incomplete, 3rd down and 6.
Well, the defenders have a slight advantage here in that the offensive receivers aren't able to make the real hard dig cuts. They have to round off their patterns and their routes, and defenders are able to stay with them a little bit more. You're not going to see as many open receivers. If you do, it's a missed assignment or a defender falling down.
8:49 to go here in the second quarter. Case leading at 7-3. Cortina on 3rd and 6. He'll wing it out. Pass caught at the 28-yard line. They'll be short of the first down. Patrick Ryan, his first catch of the day. The junior backup quarterback, splitting time as a wide receiver. He's out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Made the grab, but he's short.
And even that pattern by Ryan, he rounded off the slant, and it allowed the Case defender to close and be there as the ball was. No yards after catch, but that goes back to the inability to make a jab or put a foot in the ground and make a hard cut coming out of a break.
4th and 2, they'll go for it from the 28. Cortina wings it downfield, man open. Now it is batted away by Surin. Intended receiver was Sam Coleman. Incomplete. Great job by Surin. Had the ball come his way a couple of times late on that possession and was there both times to knock passes away.
Well, and Surin did the right thing there. Instinctively, as a defensive back, you want to catch the football and take the interception, take the turnover. But in that case, being 4th down near the goal line, he had the presence of mind to knock the ball away as opposed to catching it, and it gave Case an additional 25 yards.
So Case takes over on downs with 8 minutes to go, and they have a 7-3 lead intact. Olsen hands the football to Ricky Hanslick, and he powers his way to the 31-yard line, tackled by Brian Duffy, the senior linebacker for the Maroons.
Case went ankle to ankle with their offensive lineman there. Created almost a soccer-type wall and ran behind it. Very little splits, again, bunched together on the offensive line.
I prefer the rugby analogy there. They'll swing it out. Brandon Lynch makes the catch. 40, 45, angling back to the middle of the field, gets to midfield before he is finally knocked down by the Maroons. Lynch, the freshman, makes the grab and had some good blocking upfield, and he got into Chicago territory at the 49-yard line. 1st and 10 Case. 7:04 to go here in the first half. Olsen takes the snap. He'll wing it out to Lynch again. Tries to turn the corner, and he is hit and knocked down by Brandon Bullock. Well, Bullock so far today, Ed, all over the field.
Well, and nothing tricky on the offensive side there for Case. It wouldn't take much game film study to understand that that's a staple of the Case offense.
Brendan Lynch, the freshman out of Sarver, PA, seeing more and more playing time. They are throwing his way on this particular drive. 2nd down and 9 after a 1-yard pickup. There's Reardon on the handoff. Breaks outside the numbers on the right side. Runs into a couple of Maroon defenders. He was knocked down that time by Stephen McGugan, who recorded the tackle, number 55. Olsen, 3rd down and 6. Football is resting at the 45-yard line. Approaching the 6-minute mark here in the second quarter. Case moving left to right, leading it by a score of 7-3 here on Senior Day. The conference opener for both teams. Case trying to win their 3rd straight. Olsen tucks it under and runs right along the numbers. Right side, gets across the 40, to the 35 and down at the 34-yard line.
Sean Lepsevic with a great block downfield. Holds off the defensive back so that Olsen can cut up underneath it, pick up 5 more yards and the first down.
5:43 to go. Clock continues to move after the nice run by Olsen. Ball at the 34. Secret has checked in as the lone setback. 3 receiver set. They'll give it to Manny Secret, running right, gets tripped up outside the numbers. Ankle tackle by Ben Wade, the senior linebacker. That minimized the yardage for Secret. He picks up 1.
Now, since Beecher was hurt or cut, we have not seen him back in the football game. He is in the huddle of players near Coach Greg Debelak, but he has not made an appearance back on the field.
Magister in at fullback now with Secret. Olsen will roll to his right and throw it. Pass to Magister is incomplete. 3rd and 9 coming up for Case. They had Magister sprinting out near the right sideline. Pass was a little bit low and dropped. And so an important 3rd down coming up here for the Spartans. Well, your thoughts on Eric Olsen so far today, Ed?
I think he's managing the game well. Passing the football has been a challenge for him this afternoon.
Well, 4 receivers in now. Daugherty lines up as a slot receiver. Case will use a timeout here with 4:50 to go here in the second quarter. That is the second timeout used by the Spartans. Each team has 1 timeout remaining. We'll take one as well here. 4:50 to go in the second quarter. Case leading the University of Chicago 7-3. We'll be back with more after this timeout on the Spartans Broadcasting Network.
In search of an extraordinary dining experience where you're certain to enjoy the ambiance as well as the menu? Table 45 Restaurant and Bar is the award-winning mixed culture restaurant located at the Intercontinental Cleveland, offering cuisine from around the world created by accomplished local chef Zach Brule. Open every day, the atmosphere at Table 45 is relaxed yet inspiring with weekday chill-out happy hours, a behind-the-scenes chef's table, and outdoor dining on Patio 45. Call for more details or reservations at 216-707-4045 or visit us at tbl45.com or on Facebook.
Okay, so looking at a 3rd and 9 as we get back to action here at DeSanto Field. 7-3 Spartans by 4. Eric Olsen connected with George Daugherty on an 8-yard touchdown pass for the Spartans' only score so far. Olsen to throw it off his back foot for McLeod. Pass is incomplete. He went up for it with Chris Dengler. And the ball falls to the turf. 4th down and 9 for the Spartans.
Another wobbly pass thrown out there.
Was not really able to step into that one, and he threw off balance.
Injury update from the Case sideline. Freshman linebacker Zach Lyon getting his left hand attended to.
Olsen now drops back and will punt this one away. We'll see, drops the snap. It was low, got it off, but the punt was blocked, but it still takes a great Case roll all the way inside the 10, still rolling down close to the 7-yard line. Well, better to be lucky than good sometimes, and that was certainly the case there for the Spartans, who nearly had a disaster with that low snap.
Somewhere through the cloudy overcast, the football gods had found a break in the clouds and are looking down on Eric Olsen on that play.
I believe one of the Maroons got a body in front of that, Ed, and it glanced off the Maroons defender.
Yeah, it did get a piece of it.
But really only served to get that ball spinning, and it rolled all the way down to the 8-yard line. So Cortina hands it off to Ian Gaines. He is their backup tailback. First time we've seen him carry the ball today, and he gets out close to the 14-yard line. A Maroons lineman is shaken up on the play. Looked like Brock Appenzeller, the center, and he is up and trying to shake off that particular hit.
Gaines is the change of pace back, and much more of Mr. Outside than Mr. Inside. He'll get to the corner. Does not like to run between the tackles.
Has good speed, 5'8", 166 out of Flemington, New Jersey. 2nd down and 3 after a 7-yard pickup. Rain really falling now. They go to Sam Coleman on the out pattern. He makes the catch and then runs up the sideline close to the 30-yard line before they get him out of bounds, and it's a 1st down for the Maroons.
Michael O'Donnell missed a tackle, cost Case 10 yards as he just slid right off the receiver.
3.5 minutes to go now in the first half of play. 2nd quarter action. Rain really falling here at Case. Maroons have the football. The Spartans leading it by 4, 7-3. Cortina under center. Cortina, the senior quarterback out of Belmont, Massachusetts. They will go to Ian Gaines, tries to reverse direction, gets back between the hash marks, spins around, finally tackled by the Spartans.
Play designed to go outside the left edge of the Chicago offense. Gain trying to find a cutback lane and bring it back against the grain.
Scott Campbell brought him down and comes up limping as he walks back to his position. Campbell, one of those hybrid linebackers, will sometime drop back into coverage. Right now looking at a 2nd down and 6. The Maroons have it at their own 32-yard line. Case showing blitz from the ends. And now they'll hand it to Gaines. He's caught by Everett DeShong in the backfield and wrestled to the turf. A loss of 2 as DeShong burst through and wrapped up Ian Gaines.
Well, Case recognized something because DeShong was up on the edge on the right side. Campbell had come up on the left side as well. Never even thought about playing pass or dropping into coverage. And with it, both of them crashed in from the outside and bookend that play. DeShong with the tackle sets up 3rd and long.
3rd down, 7 for the Maroons. 7-3 Case. Approaching halftime, less than 2 minutes to go. Vincent Cortina. Under center, Brock Appenzeller. Maroons 5-2 on the season. And playing Case here in the UAA opener. Zach Ross Nash is back in. Made for the outside. That's not his game. And the Spartans stack him up. And it is no gain on the play. They'll be looking at a 4th and 7. And I believe the Maroons have used their final timeout.
And you could tell that he was not comfortable going to the edge. He was slow to the corner, kind of tiptoed as he approached the line of scrimmage, and then nothing there when he tried to pick his way forward.
It was Case that spent the timeout, so they want to preserve the 1:38 that is left on the clock. They lead it 7-3 over the University of Chicago. So Case with no timeouts remaining. But they should get the ball in decent field position if Lapsevic can effect any kind of a return here. 4th down and 6. Rain continues to fall here at DeSanto Field. This is one of the more tough weather games we have covered here at Case.
And the tough weather games that I've done at Case Field have always seemed to be around the University of Chicago.
There's the snap. And
blocked.
The punt by Cheney. It's blocked by the Spartans. It's loose. It's picked up. Spartans have it inside the 10, now inside the 5. Another huge special teams play for the Spartans.
Well, the kick was low. The snap was low to start with. Then I think the drop got away from the punter, and he kicked the back end of the football and on a line drive into the Case rushers.
I believe Aaron Weisberg blocked the punt, and Ethan Albers picked it up and ran it back inside the 5. The football will be marked at the 3-yard line. 1:28 to go here in the 2nd quarter. Case lines up 3 running backs behind Eric Olson. 1st and goal from the 3. Olson hands it to Reardon. Ankle tackle effected by Skylar Montefalco.
Well, Case lines up in that power I, and Reardon tried to cut it to the outside when his lead blockers went up between the tackles.
They lose a yard, 2nd down and 4. Case has no timeouts. 1 minute to go, 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Heavy rain right now at Case DeSanto Field. Here is Olson rolling out right, looking to the end zone, fires it high and out of bounds, intended for Logan Matt. That will indeed stop the clock.
They got 2 flags down, and one of them, I think Case only had 6 men on the line of scrimmage, and they may have gotten caught for an illegal shift or motion by one of the receivers as well.
Well, there's the first call.
That's what it was. But I guess both officials had them, and only 6 men on the line of scrimmage.
Well, they'll mark it back now to the 9-yard line after the 5-yard walk-off. 2nd and goal from the 9-yard line. Case started at the 3. They're going the wrong way right now. 2nd down. Olson to throw. Fires it for Lapsevic. Caught at the 5, and he is down. He was hit after he hit the turf, and the ball came loose, but the officials saying he was down at the 5. Case will have to hurry up at the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 5. 30 seconds left. Now Case having trouble getting the right personnel on the field. Lapsevic comes off.
They still have 20 seconds on the play clock. No time to panic. Case has time to set this up, and now a timeout called for by Case.
Nope, Case out of timeout, so that the Maroons used the timeout, and it's their final timeout.
Chicago used 2 early in the first half, Dave, in the first 8 minutes.
Aaron Weisberg with the blocked punt. Recovered by Ethan Albers and brought back to the 3, but now Case looking at a 3rd and goal from the 5.
Well, it's been 3 special teams plays that have set up Case's scoring opportunities today. The first one was a bad snap Case failed to score on after Chicago shot the snap back over the punter's head. Then a return by Lapsevic set the ball at the 11-yard line, and they scored their only points of the first half 3 plays later. And here, the block punt by the Case special teams has set Case up.
3rd and goal from the 5. 17 seconds left, 2nd quarter. 7-3 Case. Olson drops to throw. Timing route, back of the end zone for McLeod, incomplete. 4th and 5 for the Spartans. Vincent Beltrano on the defensive coverage.
Well, Case has made some changes to their special teams, Dave. You mentioned Logan Matt is now the holder. Tap Tasker had that responsibility earlier in the season.
Bavaro will come on and try a field goal. This will be a 22-yard attempt. There's the snap. The hold is good. The kick is up and good.
That one, Logan Matt should be credited with some of the points. The snap was off his left hip behind him, and he still managed to get it down quick enough to allow Bavaro to get it up and through.
Excellent job by Logan Matt handling that snap. Nick Bavaro with the field goal, his 4th of the season. He is now 4 out of 5 in field goal attempts this year. With 10 seconds left, the Case Western Reserve Spartans leading Chicago now by a score of 10-3. So the Spartans do come away with points after the blocked Chicago punt.
So not technically turnovers, but big special teams play have put Case in a position where their scoring drives have amounted to an 11-yard drive, and this one officially 1 yard. They started at the 3 and ended up at the, well, maybe they ended at the 3. No official yards then.
Kickoff is coming up, and it is a squib kick bouncing to the 15-yard line. Brought back by Beltrano. Bounces to the outside at the 30 to the 35 and out of bounds with 2 seconds left. And a flag comes in from the opposite side of the field.
A personal foul going to be called. Block in the back. against Chicago from the linesman 40 yards from the play.
So they will mark it back at the 27-yard line with 2 seconds left in the quarter. And they will just kneel down, and that will do it for the first half. Rain falling as hard as it has all day as the first half comes to a close. Case leading the University of Chicago by a score of 10-3.